Oh, good morning. Oh, it's been quite busy here, especially yesterday. I was actually working on trying to track down some problems in my load order, and I had something that I had two persistent problems, but one kind of creeped up on me. It was a problem where, the game would literally just, in a sense, crash to the desktop with no notification of any kind. Normally when the game tries to do something it shouldn't, there a Windows event, an exception event will occur, from the operating system, or I'll get a Buffout log, and I was getting neither. So I was kind of suspecting that it's from, it's almost like it's almost like where the game, part of their performance enhancements. Well, it leads me to believe. I'm trying to think of a better way to put this. It leads me to believe that Bethesda put kind of a sanity check somewhere in the code. So either when it crashed to desktop without no notification or any warning, and there's nothing to track back, either either that's a DLL, an ejected DLL through F4SE that got confused, and then it just literally, then F4SE just killed the whole process. Which is interesting because if they would choose to do that, I get to in an attempt to maintain data integrity, you would kill something. You would actually, God, the wording is the killer. You would terminate a program. I feel sorry for the Matrix. You terminate a program if you believe that the program is getting into a state where you're going to have data corruption. The integrity of the data is gonna it's gonna increase the problem. If that's the case, I'm surprised that there isn't a message somewhere, a simple warning saying, it's a simple call to just a very small function. You could even use a library to throw up a message. You can use one of the Windows libraries to throw up a message to literally say, there's an integrity issue here. So I'm going to jump to whatever this message is that says integrity issue found or something, and then exit out instead of just popping to the desktop. And I believe I've seen that happen when the new gen was looking at the old gen. I believe it was the BSAs or BA2s. I think that was an instant crash. But that's what I was getting at. I mean, literally no notification that even to throw up the name of the BA2 to say this BA2 is in the wrong format. I mean, and I'm thinking that given the fact that the game is, I mean, the community is massive for Bethesda games to mod, I feel in the future that is not going to be so. I think I think that's an untapped resource that Microsoft is going to want to get into with them, with it for themselves. I think that's something they're going to look at, and it's going to be outside the Bethesda market because I think that in a management sense, it was too loosely managed. I think the inspiration for things were there. It's almost like a childlike view. You have it's like where you have the child, the parent, and the adult all in the same body. Well, the child is there. That has the vision. That's the love, all that compassion. The childlike play quality that makes things fun. I think that's what took the company to a certain distance. And I think the adult side of it, somehow got sidestepped, and they prioritized profits over actual gameplay. Because when you start looking at the game, you see the very simple mechanics of the game, but the actual storytelling that knits those mechanics together are it's just not there. It's almost like the story was knitted around the mechanics, not the mechanics knitted around the story. But that's kind of neither here nor there. Let me. So I was gonna take a look at these crash logs real quick. I know this particular video is gonna be quite long. We got 3, 6. I got about 10 of them. So I kind of glanced at them. So we'll bring them up real quick, and I kind of glanced at them, and what it looks like. Yeah, this thing that I wrote. You can program certain aspects of it. It's kind of very user configurable. So I can literally program it that when I detect a file is downloaded, certain files I can automatically grab them and display them. and that really helps to that really makes it easier to work with other things. Let's see if we can boost this up. Let me find my plus key here, if this even works. Let's go over to here, and let's just gonna boost it up. There we go. Let's boost this up some. Okay, so I see this small block allocator, but notice meshes. See trap weak. Notice meshes. I see meshes in here. This is just the first one we've looked at. It's got traps, weak traps. Not sure what these are, but apparently that's what it was working on when it you got some skins in here. See trap weak plank 04. Got that. Okay, so we're gonna buzz through these pretty quick. Okay, so that's a trap. That one's some kind of traps. Let's take a look at this one real quick. Let's go in and see. And all these are null references. You can tell by looking at this. Let's see. Looks like this one. See resource creator. This one looks like this one dipped right off the bat. Like this one tanked right off the bat. Okay, so there's resource creator. There's something it doesn't like. Let me grab this. Let's see what this one is. See small block allocator. Okay. Not sure what that does, but I'm assuming re-entrant spin lock. Not sure if that's trying to lock us. See now, here's landscape, BNS. I have BNS trees, so I do have that. Let's see. I have the 3.0 version. Customizable faction identity. Okay, customizable faction identity. Okay, and then let's take a look at that one. Was that the third one we did? Let's see. What was this one here? Let's see if it'll even tell me. Alright, we got March 12th. I think that was the third one we did. There's the second one. Okay, now we're doing this. See, this is the third one. Or is this the same one? Oops. Yeah, let's see if we can refresh this window real quick. Okay, so is this the same one? Okay, that's no big deal. Small block allocator. Is this the same one? Yeah, that's probably the third. We probably did the third one. All right, let's do the fourth one. All right, we got it. Let's see what this is. Again, resource creator. Merge instance tri-shape. Okay, so we're back on to more meshes. We're in progress at that time. Let's grab the next one. Meshes. See meshes again. Set dressing. This is rubble. Okay, God, are we on the fifth one? Let's just try the sixth. I think we're on 6 now. All right, let's take a look. Resource creator here. Resource creator. That's when it went south. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this one. Meshes. Gauss tracer beam. Yeah, see fade node, 9 node meshes. Okay. So that's 7. Let's take a look at, I can go a little bit further, but I think that's going to be meshes still. Wilderness. Okay. See anim emitter, attach, mist. Okay, see, all right. Let's see here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Oops. All right, there we go. What I'm looking for. Moved it too soon. All right, let's see. Again, landscape trees. Okay, that one popped back up. What I'm beginning to think with this is that this is. I'm thinking. This is just a guess. This is just a flat out guess. Looking at all of looking at all the Buffout logs to see you got land texture trees. See, we got BNS landscape again. So you have everything seems to be associated with meshes. Like everything is meshes here. Let's see. I grabbed the last one. Let's take a look. See, 9 node again. Okay. So what I'm thinking, just by looking at the fact that the majority of them are meshes, that it's a previs problem. That it's a previs crash. That these are previs crashes. So, and I'm not sure how. I'm not sure. Like, if I was going to troubleshoot this on my end, there might be a couple things I could try. There might be a couple things that might be available to me. The first thing is I can turn off cold. I mean, I can turn off cold objects, and I can make sure that previs is turned off in the any. And I think you change one of the like pre-cold objects set to 0. I think you have to take a look at that. But see if you can turn off previs completely. And if you have a large load order and a lot of changes, depending on your system, and even if you have a top-end system, it's still going to tank out. But I'm curious if by turning off previs, if that solves the problem. If that, if it's a previs issue. Because it has to do, there's meshes in there that, and these are meshes that are not just, if you look at the meshes that are causing the crash, I mean, this is not just something that happens with, I'm assuming some settlements too, since you're in a SS2 forum, I'm assuming, it's not, because none of those I saw were SS2 meshes. They look like they were just random meshes from mist to anything that would be required to render a scene. Any mesh that's required to render a scene as it builds that scene from back to front. So if there's a problem with previs, or there's a problem with one of the previs files, then it might, I believe it will cause a crash. I believe that's what causes a crash. I would also try turning off things like ambient occlusion. I would strip all that down. I would go into, because you can easily turn those back on. I would turn off image space, like go into your your launcher, turn off image space reflections, strip all of that down. You're not really, you could change the graphic settings, but if leave the resolution the same, but strip all the additional SSAO, all the all that stuff. Strip all of that off. You can do that in the launcher. So what you're doing is you're removing all of the special effects that, screen space reflections. Again, I need to know it's water. It needs to know what meshes are around it to reflect. It needs to know the sky. So strip all that down. So, and then that should, hopefully that would remove. You can even turn off God rays. If you can get into your game, you can do go into the console and do a GR space OFF. It's only temporary. It's God rays off. And you can easily turn them back on again. I do it all the time. Make sure those are off. And then be sure and set that pre-cold to 0, because you want to make sure objects aren't pre-cold. You want to turn off your precombine. Just like you can use the same instructions that they taught, that they mention in certain mods that do spring cleaning and things like that. They'll say turn this off, and then of course there's a recommendation not to do it because it's a performance issue. Well, we already know that. But what we're trying to do is isolate what subsystem. We're trying to use the tools that we have to try and isolate what subsystem in the engine is what's causing the issue. And then if we can isolate the subsystem, such as whether it's previs or in the rendering, it's in a mesh, then we can try and isolate whether it's an individual mesh issue, which it doesn't look like it, because if one mesh was causing the problem, it would be consistent throughout every single crash log. But what I'm getting is landscape trees and all of that. So I believe that's I think that's coming from the previs system. So try that and see if that works, and then post back and let me know, because to keep your load order, because what I did, I actually went through and over here you can see these are plugins that were active in my load order that I haven't reinstalled yet. And probably the only ones I might pick up are the ones that's going to add workshop items to where I can do some building. And I was trying to figure out. I started. Like I mentioned earlier, I started with that system of trying to create a basic game and moving forward. And somehow, when I added NPCs, I do get stuttering in areas, which I think is face gen. And there may be a problem with extended Raider games. Raider games extended. There may be or expanded. I think it's one of the two. There may be a problem with that one because I hadn't really noticed things, issues, crashes, things like that, and stuttering until I installed that. So there may be a problem with that. I'm not sure. Could be an old mod. It may not. It may not be something that's fully updated. So I tracked down one problem I was having to the Papyrus Common Library, grabbing the wrong variables. I tracked that one down. That one's tracked down. I reported that one to the mod author. And I have no idea. Believe it or not, I have no idea when mod authors get back. Look at their post, because a single mod author oftentimes has multiple accounts. I don't know why they do it, but you may have a common person like Jimmy Dean, and then he may have another account called Buka Kafuka, or Phoebe DB. I don't know why they do that. To me, my user IDs are always the same. So I don't know if I don't know if it's so that they can look in to see what people post. I have no clue. I honestly don't. But whenever he gets back to it, that's up to him. But I took that out. The only thing I had that needed it was like graphics, like a GVM or something. It lets you change it's some fixes or something. And then I'm working on tracking down another one, which might be from a Magic. I think it's like Magic Fixes or something might be one that's causing the issue. So I went ahead and disabled that one over here. I believe I've already got that done. I think it's like a Magic disabled. Yeah, see, I've already got that one disabled. And then I've disabled the Papyrus one, that common library thing. And I'm going to see what that does. So I'm gonna boot this up and just kind of do a little bit more testing. I've got a lot of things I have to do today. I've got to get a PC built, or at least get I got to get the thing built. I'll worry about putting drives in it another day, but I got to get the thing put together, and then I've got to get some other things done here in the house, and yeah, so I'm just gonna be kind of tied up. So, but I did want to touch base and just kind of look through some of that real quick. I know I kind of just did a quick glance at it, but I think it might be related to the previs, or somehow it's related to the rendering of the scene. So Jamal, use your, you can use FO4 configurator, or you can use the launcher. You want to take out screen space reflections, take out SSA, drop all that stuff off. You want to drop, you want to turn off anti-aliasing, anisotropic filtering, turn that off. You can do that with the launcher or with the configurator, and you can easily put it back. I think the configurator might even let you save a configuration file as it is before you make your changes, and then you can reload. But don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure, I feel pretty confident the author of that application has done that. And then go in and turn off pre-culled items, and you should see a performance hit, and then see if you have the same issues, okay? And then just post back with your results, all right? So good luck, and I know it's a pain. Trust me, it's incredibly frustrating, but it's something we got to do, all right? So good luck.